My name is Allison Span, and the reason why I decided to do this project was because I wanted to highlight the inequalities and injustices in different industries. I am currently a student at Columbia College Chicago, and I decided to go for film, and my concentration is directing. Growing up, I always loved film. I always loved TV, movies. Growing up, my mom, she had told me that she didn't want me watching any TV shows if it didn't have a black person in it. And at the time, I thought it was really stupid. I thought she was being unreasonable. Growing up, though, I realized that she had a point, and I understood what she was talking about. Looking back on the TV shows that I watched, even the movies, but even they didn't have to be television shows that were on Nickelodeon or Disney Channel. They didn't have to be kids shows. I noticed it growing up where I would watch The Office or even just grown up quote unquote TV shows where the entire cast would be white and you would only have one token black character, or if you didn't have a black character, then you would have that token Asian character or whatever the case may be, just to show a little bit of diversity. Even though I disagree with my mom as a kid, I realized, obviously, as I said before, growing up, that she had a point, and that's what made me want to go into the film industry. I thought representation is so important. Seeing myself or seeing people that look like me on screen is very important. My favorite shows growing up was That's So Raven and Ant Farm, because the main character in Ant Farm was, a black girl, and That's So Raven, the main family was a black family. I love the Cosby Show growing up. Because it was a black family. We didn't watch Full House. I think people fail to realize how important representation is, whether it be in film, the music industry, health, or, when it comes to insurance. There are a lot of inequalities when it comes to how people take care of black people or the black community, and this is something that I wanted to highlight in this documentary, and how important it is to show people and highlight how mistreated we are in this country, and how we just have to do better, or how people like me, like people in the black community, how we can do better since we're going into those industries. I'm going into the film industry, and I do want to make it better when it comes to representation. And I feel like people should do the same when they're in the black community if they want to be doctors, nurses, people in the music industry. I feel like they need to highlight the fact that, if I make music and I have a majority white fan base, you guys can't say the N-word. You guys can't do that. Or if I am a doctor going into the medical field, there are a handful of white doctors that misuse their power and they mistreat their black patients. And I feel like if you are a black person going into the medical field, then you have that power to not only speak out about that and highlight what they're doing, the racial inequalities, but you can also be the hope in that light. You have that power to make those black patients feel safe where they're going to seek help. And so that's why this documentary that I'm going to introduce to you is very important to me, because I just want to highlight multiple, inequalities in the different industries. I met with Caleb Peacock, my partner, and he will be speaking about the music industry. And I also met with Jonathan Savage, who will be talking about the health education industry in terms of black teachers, black students, and his observations, because he wants to go into, he wants to be a professor. My partner Caleb wants to go into the music industry, and he's also doing insurance sales, so he's also going to speak on that as well. This year, during the spring semester, I was in a class, it was history of television, and I learned about basically just the history of TV starting in the 60s, and then we ended off in the 90s and early 2000s. And the basic concept of learning that it was just how they wanted to depict the American dream in terms of having a white family, and the majority of the cast, not even the majority of the cast, all of the cast was white, and how they treated black people, how they didn't want black people in their TV shows. And eventually that changed, where they didn't mind black people in their TV shows unless they served some sort of purpose by being the dumb comic relief type of character. They didn't want any representation when it comes to the black community unless they were to be ridiculed and to be seen as a joke, to be seen as less than and dumber than more dumb than white people. So it was interesting to learn that in class. I started watching Living Single, which was an amazing show. You have a group of Black characters that are doing something with their life during the 90s, and I feel like you don't really see that, especially how white people try to interpret the Black community as thugs or they're violent or whatever the case may be. Living Single uplifts Black people. You have Khadijah James, who is in charge of a magazine, her own magazine company, and then you have Max, and there are just so many other characters that are doing so well for themselves because they're people, because they're educated. And I just genuinely feel like when it comes to the white mindset, they just feel like Black people are thugs or violent. And I just, like I said before, I just really like the fact that Living Single uplifts them. Something that I also didn't know before is that Living Single inspired Friends. Because it inspired Friends, a white TV show, they eventually canceled Living Single. You have fashion, you have music, you have film, an abundance of inspiration coming from the Black community. And then there are a lot of people, not just only white people, that take from our culture and then they never give credit. When we see representation now, whether it be an Ariel or a TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we get backlash for that. So when we get some sort of representation now, whether it be in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where they made April O'Neil Black, or Ariel where they made Ariel Black, I feel like that's good representation. I remember I saw videos of little Black girls and they were looking at the TV and then they were really excited to see, you know, a princess that looked like them. Even with Princess Tiana, that was really cool to see when I was growing up. When I would watch TV when I was younger, I would gravitate towards the Black characters because it was cool to see a Black character. Simple as that. It was really nice to see. It was really nice to see someone that looked like me on screen. So I share that to say, when it comes to representation, when it comes to race swapping, where Ariel was initially white and then they decided in live action that she was Black, that's nothing to be mad about. Through time, when it comes to film and TV, there has been multiple instances where white people will play as Native Americans, they will act as Asian people, they will even do blackface. When I go into film, my dream is to be a director. I do want to make original TV shows and I want to make original movies. And when I picture my characters, when I do my characters, they are Black people. They're Black women, Black men. That's what I want in my films, because I want that proper representation. I want people to watch something cool, where something that they can have and then they can see themselves in. I want to make fantasy things. I want to make action, films or movies and stuff like that. And I want the majority of the cast to be Black. The Black community, wants to cosplay characters because I feel like anime essentially is for everyone. But there are white people who are racist, where, we get negative comments, racist and hateful comments when you look at anime and, the variety of anime television shows. Majority of the characters are Asian, or they're Japanese. So I thought it was so weird for white people to be able to cosplay, and it was okay for them. But when it came to Black or content creators or Black cosplayers, it wasn't okay for them. And it was just always this double standard when it comes to the white community in film and TV. Overall, my point is just to highlight the things that's going on in the industry that I'm going in, which is film. I just want to encourage the people in my community to add more people that look like me and you in it, because it's important. Like, I can't really stress that enough, how important it is.
My name is Caleb Peacock, and I've always had a fascination with rap, both in its artistry, its composure, and its performance. Ever since I was little, I've always been fascinated with figures such as Kendrick Lamar, figures such as Jay-Z, figures such as Pusha T, people who have just found ways to really convey both lived and just their lived experience into their art in such a fascinating way, in both a way that can relate to audiences around them and distinguish them from other peers in the same arena. On the topic of Black artists not receiving the same opportunities as white artists, I find it often very interesting how, when it comes to Black art and Black music, that it is stigmatized in a way as such, where Black artists, even if they haven't necessarily had those lived experiences themselves, they're forced to market their music and perform their music in a way that is stereotypically Black. And like I said, regardless if that's their actual lived experience or not, because that is what's popular, or that is what is most likely to be consumed by mainstream audiences. When it comes to their white peers in the music industry, that is not often the case. A lot of times when it comes to white artists, they have the freedom to talk about whether it be like romance, bad experiences, or whatever, but it's not always so heavily stigmatized. They have a lot more freedom in expressing whatever their heart desires, regardless of the genre even. A lot of times when it comes to Black artists, they're more funneled into rap. And if they do choose to break the mold and go into alternative music, pop, or any type of area in that gray area, either R&B, they don't receive the same funding. They don't receive the same label contracts. They don't receive the same attention. They don't receive the same respect. It's very common in the industry to have separate standards for both male and female artists, and that, I believe, pertains quite readily to the Black individuals. For example, we do have, like, again, for example, Beyonce in her portrayal of country as opposed to the artist Shamuzi. A lot of the times when it comes to both of their portrayals of country, only she receives a lot of more ridicule and a lot more unfair coverage or connotation or focus on her music being a Black female artist in the traditionally white male arena that is country music. We see this all as well. The comparisons continue in things like Sexy Red and Sabrina Carpenter. Both of their music is heavily sexualized, and that's nothing wrong with that inherently. However, when you start applying stigmas such as like hood rat or extremely sexual hypersexualization of Black women in comparison with Sabrina Carpenter and her benefit of the doubt style, oh, there's always a lesson behind her sexualization, or she's innocent or very infantilized, we'll say, in her portrayals of sexualization, which is not at all, in fact, true. You also see things such as like I said, the aesthetic and the compartmentalization of Blackness when it comes to people like Jack Harlow. He's who is allowed to wear bonnets, do-rags, or other Black accessories that are very commonly associated with Black individuals. However, when Black artists are seen wearing them, they're not professional. Now it's instantly anonymous with gang culture or gang violence or traditional or like stereotypical rap music, things like that, where I don't think is fair at all, especially when it comes to direct comparison between Black and white artists in the same arena.
I think especially when we consider how Black art is often misrepresented and some of the effects that it has on, the accolades and the legacies of a lot of artists. So, when we consider The Weeknd, for example, who has stopped making R&B since 2015, but still gets lumped into conversations, lumped into brackets with R&B artists, and what that means in regards to legacies, especially if you're an artist striving to be a pop icon, and comparing yourself to pop legends, but you're always being considered to be R&B. And even if we can consider Tyler, the Creator, who released albums that were at the Grammys attributed to the rap category, that even Tyler himself would be like, this isn't rap, this is pop. But how Black art is always lumped into these quote-unquote Black genres, which is already problematic because Black people have created almost every genre that we can consider, but especially problematic when we think of how we consider some of these opportunities of what it means to be, win album of the year versus rap album of the year, and what it means to just have your work properly respected and attributed. When you consider awards in general, just some of the ways that Black art has been devalued in the greater landscape. So even considering the fact that rap albums are often overlooked for things like album of the year, or that I believe we have to go back to Outkast in 2004 and how an artist like Kendrick Lamar could lose best rap album to a Macklemore, or how just albums that personify rap and its cultural identity and cultural roots would lose out to a commodified version of rap that deviates from a lot of those conscious roots, a lot of those lyrical roots, and things that make rap so important to the community, and how the award structure also is flawed in how it conceptualizes Black art and how it limits Black art, but also how it props up non-Black artists even in these Black quote-unquote categories.
You see this in K-pop, which is a very popular pop genre in both Korea and America. However, a lot of their aesthetics, a lot of their choreography, a lot of their influence, and a lot of their rhythmic component to their music is based heavily in Black culture and Black roots, specifically back to like boy bands. You see things like New Edition, things like Flow, like Group, Black contemporary music, R&B, and pop. All of those things find themselves repackaged and redelivered under a cleaner or so-called less stigmatized aesthetic when it comes to Korean people, without the acknowledgement and without the blatant acknowledgement of the contribute of Black musicians that have came before them and that inspired them to take that and proceed to take it to a new arena in a market which has not been accessed as easily as America. I do find it very interesting how when it comes to things such as like K-pop or any type of brand, especially when it comes to the rap outside of Black individuals, how Black stigmatizations and Black stereotypes are suddenly no longer seen as negative as long as they're not put on someone with a Black skin. As long as someone isn't inherently seen or racialized as Black, then all of a sudden Black becomes an aesthetic and not their lived experience and not the message they're saying. All of that seems to disappear without nearly the same level of scrutiny as if it were a Black artist.
Hi, so my name is Jonathan. I'm a master's student in Loyola. I'm getting my degree in sociology with plans to go for my PhD. I also hold a couple of research assistance roles at the institution, so I have two different kind of research projects that I'm working on with a couple of different people. So I'm currently in the process of getting my master's. I'm in my second year. I'll be hopefully done in May if all goes well, but I have aspirations of going into academia and into higher education as a professor, and I really gravitated towards higher education because when I was in my undergrad, I noticed a particular lack of Black and minority professors who either were able to offer the time, resources, or knowledge to actually invest into their students. And I know for me, I found a level of support maybe a little late, but I guess better late than never. Like my last semester in my senior year, I finally was able to get connected with like a Black professor who would invest in my actual education, deviate from just the standard white norms of education that we were engaging with for like the previous 3.5 years. And I kind of saw a significant need for that for, just many Black students, many minority students, and kind of wanted to find a way to be that for somebody else, and find ways to kind of just cultivate the next generation of learners. I believe that education is essential. I believe that we can't have a conscious populace without having an educated populace. I believe that those two things go hand in hand. So, I'm just hoping to kind of expand my learning journey and hopefully be able to kind of impart wisdom and understanding to the next. So one of the reasons why I particularly want to go into education was because throughout my life, I kind of saw how Black students, Black children were particularly underserved, and a big reason for that being how Black students, their behaviors are often demonized, even though they operate as a regular response to either social settings or trauma or a variety of different factors, or legitimate mental health issues that teachers, professors, and people in education, higher education, are ill-equipped to deal with. And it kind of ties back into this concept of deviancy, where everything that is not considered white is considered to be deviant. But what that does is when you have Black children engaging in behaviors that are culturally specific, that is viewed as deviant, that is viewed as unprofessional, and it influences the teacher-student relationship. And I know I've seen that particularly personally, where students were going through significant trauma and they were told that they have to straighten up and whatnot, whereas they should be provided help and support. So I know part of the reason why I wanted to go into academia, go into higher ed, was because I think that there is a way that teachers and academics and professors should be able to come together along with the student. And it's part of the reason why particularly for Black men, a lot of Black men don't finish college, because of some of those cultural barriers, culture shock, or traumas that they're experiencing in their own lives that they don't really have anyone to turn to, and it makes them less interested in the entire process. So having someone who can kind of understand where they're coming from in some capacity, I've always found to be important. And one of the things that's important to recognize is that the education system fails Black students from essentially elementary school all the way through college. So the education system obviously operates within our broader structure. So it's influenced by policies, influenced by money and taxpayer dollars. So a lot of predominantly Black schools, you're going to see just fewer access to resources, fewer AP classes, fewer educational opportunities or opportunities to branch out of their neighborhoods and things of that nature. But from elementary school rather, you're seeing that Black students don't spend as much time reading in class. They don't spend as much time, or they don't get as much homework assigned after class. They don't spend as much time actually getting instruction from their teachers on the subjects. And from elementary school on, you see younger Black students also, in contrast to spending time on school, they spend more time on TV. But you can tie that into a broader social structure where Black parents are inevitably strained to make things work. So there's a lot at play there, and it really ties in things like high school, where you see, again, fewer AP classes, fewer opportunities for SAT and ACT prep, which leads to lower test scores, obviously. And test scores have never been shown to be a predictor of academic success, but they're still used as the benchmark for college admissions in many places. So, really just putting Black students at a disadvantage where, you're being failed consistently. And then even if you make it into the school with these sorts of cards being dealt, you have the financial side of things. So if you're not getting perfect SAT score, it's going to be harder to get a full scholarship, which means that a lot of that burden on attending college no longer becomes due to your academic abilities, but rather due to your financial situation, which many Black students, many people of color are hindered. And I know personally from a lot of my work that I've been doing, I've been speaking with a lot of students who are unable to attend college because, they just can't afford it. Or I'll speak with parents who, see these kids with big dreams, real bright students, but are unable to afford it because they might not have had the grades to get a scholarship, or they might not have an alternative way to pay for college. Overall, we can kind of just see how Black students have been failed, really from the jump, from our long histories of racial oppression and segregation, and how it just impacts the Black student experience, but also how a lot of these ideas about who a Black man is, who a Black woman is, influences their educational experience, and how having someone who is unable to empathize or come alongside a Black student where they are can lead to these sorts of adverse educational outcomes. So, that kind of just reaffirms why I even want to go into education, because if, I might not be, you might not be able to change the policy aspects of it, but being able to create those sorts of social support structures for emerging Black adults, like we're 18 to 22, being able to kind of try to set them up for success in a world that really doesn't facilitate that for them is going to be very important. So it really just affirms why I'm interested in academia. In the topic of healthcare, one of the things that's very important to understand is that for Black people, from birth to essentially death, you're dealt a bad hand in that the care that you receive and your health outcomes are going to be influenced by, just your standing as a Black individual in America. So even in terms of, what's called allostatic load, where this is like the cumulative wear and tear, psychological tear on the body, Black people have been shown to have a higher load at every stage. So like, in terms of weight, hemoglobin levels, just signs of stress and signs of trauma, Black patients have been shown to have increased levels compared to white people, and tie that into just increased death rates, increased infant mortalities, maternal mortality rates, and if you want to talk about colorism, in particular, decreased health outcomes for darker skinned patients, and that particularly mental health outcomes for darker skinned women compared to lighter skinned individuals. So the healthcare industry is a important space. Public health is an important space to kind of recognize some of these issues, particularly from a physician nursing side of things. One of the things that we see is that when there is no kind of matching of races, so like a white patient or a Black patient, maybe with a white doctor, those sorts of care plans that are more collaborative, they don't necessarily exist as much. So we don't really see white doctors willing to listen to the experiences of a Black patient, where a Black patient can kind of tell them that this is something about their life that might influence the care plan that the doctor's making. And that creates significant difficulties in terms of how you can kind of treat these sorts of issues that Black people are at more significant risk for just due to them being Black, and kind of emphasizes a lot of the need for Black physicians to step into these spaces where we can kind of form these collaborative care plans and more patient participation in their care, with an understanding of some of the social factors that influence their health outcomes, such as segregation, environmental racism, and discrimination, even just influencing health in general.
Specifically, medical racism can be found pretty much wherever a Black or brown person resides in the healthcare field. A lot of times when it comes to certain practices, certain stigmas that are withheld within the medical industry, it's often seen that Black and brown people are portrayed to have higher pain tolerance levels, higher, or rather I should say, less discernible or less in tune with their body. They're not often listened to, heard, seen, and respected in the same way as their white counterparts. And this extends doubly to female patients of color, especially Black women, especially in both prenatal care, things like maternal care, as their white counterparts. A lot of Black women, including my own mother, have shared stories about their lack of care or their lack of comfort in hospitals, medical systems, or wherever they did reside regarding childbirth. And I think that does need to change, especially if we're considering the new age where people shouldn't have to go to the hospital and wonder if their care is at priority based on the color of their skin. My current profession is a Medicare benefits advisor. What I do is consistently help out people of all races, all genders, figure out their insurance for both medical and life. It's often that I see when it comes to the racial disparities in the medical industry, as well as the Medicare industry. A lot of times when it comes to Black individuals, they have a unique bond with their doctors and their insurance fund as a whole. A lot of times that same bond is not quite present with a white individual I do face. A lot of times it's a lot harder for a Black individual to come across a Black or brown doctor in the medical industry, especially one that's localized in their area, one that they feel supports them and properly shows them the level of Medicare respect they deserve, they need. It's also pretty rare to find. A lot of times it's just a bit easier. It's a bit easier to see the level of care that Black and brown doctors provide to Black and brown patients, knowing that there isn't uniquely an inherent bond that they do care about them as an individual beyond just the status of like their doctor or their nurse, stereotypically.
Honestly, I hope this documentary says a lot. I hope it taught people or open your eyes in some way. I just, like I said in the beginning, I made this documentary just to uplift the Black community, and I feel like when we get into these different industries, whether it be music, film, the medical, education, we just have to uplift each other. We have to uplift like the Black students that are in your class, or make you could make music for everyone, but also like uplift your Black fans too. I don't know, but I'm not. Music is not my forte, but whatever works. But I just say that to say I just really can't stress enough how important it is.